everybody, this is Tom from Team Exalted, and I have with me Kieran today. Let's have a quick look at the decks that our two opponents are using today. We'll start with Seb's deck, and this is Princess T. Hokara. And we've reviewed these decks before. This one looks quite interesting to me. One of my favourite cards in here, Numquid. A couple of Control the Weaks. The Disc Suite looks pretty horrible, to be honest with you. What do you think about it, Kieran?
Yeah, it's got some nice things. Like you say, the Control of the Weeks are really good all round. Arise is always nice for getting your monsters back, and this has got 13 creatures in it, by the look of it. The Chariot's always nice with the Lash as well to keep your opponent's forging capabilities down.
Yeah. And the Commander Remiel as well in the Sanctum can be very useful. You can get him to stick to the board. And then there's a lot of nice stealing in Shadows as well.
Yeah,
overall,
too much protect.
Yeah.
Nice big threat card there.
It's very nice. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. We've got Glottis, Logo Shenanigans, and it's a stone deck as well. Always love to see hit and run with Snecklifter. I think it's a fantastic way of controlling your opponent's artifacts.
Oh, yes. That's a bit mean. Also, he's got the Red Alert, always a nice card, and then 2 stealth modes, which are really hard to play around.
Yeah, very, very cool. And with the stone as well. And how many creatures? 14 in this. And 15 raw amber pips. So if you can get the stone down early and your opponent's got no artifact control, then it's just about churning cards through for pips. It becomes a pure race. Looks very good. Let's shift to the next one. This is Zexili, Spawn of Lazorius. This also looks like a great deck. The Untamed looks good, especially Savage Clash for a nice clear. Bolt's Blessing with 9 mutants in the deck is pretty awesome.
It's also got 3 Cleansing Waves, and it's got 4 damage pips on the card, so at least you've got potential to actually be getting benefit from them.
And also, the 9 mutants coupled with Johnny Longfingers, which gives each friendly mutant destroyed steal 1. That can be horrible if that goes off in your face. Double Rad Penny as well. Looks like a very interesting deck. Okay, let's have a look at Xiar's decks. So we've got Azawin, the first one. This is an AOA deck. Almost no amber control in here is the first thing I see. Just the IG and that's it. But it does have Brig.
It also has Heart of the Forest, so maybe the amber control isn't as much a concern.
Doesn't care about the amber control.
It's got the Brig in there with the Chota and a key abduction, so it's definitely got some good options for playing around.
And it's got MG in it as well. Oof. I think if this fires right, this can be disgusting. I really do. That Mars with the Mars first looks very nice. And as you say, with the Hoff there, you can burst with that Brig to get to enough amber to then go into Untamed next turn, Forge on turn, and then Forge with the Chota for the double key. Well, it looks like a fun deck. Let's see what's next. The Simple Prodigal of Scroll Hill, Chota deck.
Looks a bit crazy because it's got 24 raw amber.
Holy moly, this is a rush deck. With library access in Logos.
Wildland Hards are great, especially with the other things. I mean, you got Fertility Chant and 2 Dust Pixies, so it's like, yeah, you're just going to be rushing out the gate.
Especially with 2 Nature's Calls as well, and a key charge. Yeah, this is a very fast deck.
You do have to be worried about the Infernuses and, just mass steals, but, hopefully you don't get to that point.
Hopefully, your Fertility Chant's just going to come in when you play it for that last key. Okay, let's have a look what else we've got. So, Ballinger the Arboreal. 83 SAS Worlds Collide. 3 Poltergeists. 2 Eddies. 2 IGs. This looks interesting. Again, that Disc Suite looks a lot of fun. Single Infernus, but not finished with you to shuffle him back in. Double Tau to get some extra archiving for those double eddies. You've got Hapsis to be able to wards and fighting. Is there any taunt in here? No, but the Melina can give hazardous to the Edis and the stealth modes as well.
Yeah,
is a very useful thing to have.
Modes. 2 red alerts for if you get behind on creatures. Seismo Entangler is a good one as well, because just that ability to stop your opponent reaping is
Yeah, very powerful.
Yeah.
Hello everybody, this is Tom from Team Exalted, and I have Kieran from Team Exalted with me, and today we're going to be watching the KFPL game between Seb112 and Xiar, and we're just ready to get the game underway. It's going to be an interesting matchup here. We've got the simple prodigal of Scroll Hill from Xiar, which is a very fast Kota Rush deck by the looks of it, against Zegzili. Very nice double Johnny Longfingers, 9 mutant, interesting deck here from Seb.
It's going to be good to see whether or not the steal from the Zegzili is going to manage versus the Rush.
Yeah, it's a good point. So Seb starting there with the Gizzle's Heart Zealot and reaping with it.
Ooh, very quick. Shadow's Urchin play, still one.
Yeah, very, very fast there. I'll just take that amber, thank you, and that's all she wrote. Seb into Shadows himself with a Rad Penny to take that amber back. Amber ping pong here. Mutant Cutpurse killing the Urchin with a damage pip. Both the Johnnies out. Oof, that's a instant board there from Seb. Let's see how Xiar can respond to that.
See, ideally you wanted to be able to wipe that board, get rid of it now whilst you got no ember, but
yeah, agreed.
It's going to be a bit of a threat otherwise.
I totally agree, because once you've got some amber there, you don't really want to be killing those things and getting the steal off on you. So Nature's Call though coming down now. Wonder what he's going to return here. Obviously not the Red Penny. Probably go for, yeah, exactly that. The 2 Johnnies and the Cutpurse.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
We know they're going to come back down again, but here comes a big twig. Another Nature's Call. Oh, he does put the Red Penny back in Seb's hand. And then says go. Seb choosing Untamed and Lost in the Woods, that big twig. Dark Fairy. Dark Fairy a bit of a witch in my opinion. You can't leave that thing there to fight. And Nithal Ape and Pismire pushing Xiar's key cost up to 8 at the moment. Xiar goes into Untamed. Let's see what he's going to do. Are we going to see some Rush? Oh, Mimicry. Oh, to copy Lost in the Woods. Very nice. This is back and forth.
This is a great back and forth at the moment. They're just not letting each other keep anything.
No. One of them will run out of steam eventually, and then it'll get very interesting. And an Octo Maneuvers as well to exhaust that ape and then discarding the key. There. Yeah, clearing out the hand. Okay, here comes that Shadow's turn. This looks like a familiar cast of characters.
Brad Penny's back to steal one again.
Yep. Oh, it killed the Rad Penny. And then it died, and it stole 2 from the Johnny Longfingers. Very, very nice. Very nice play from Seb.
Rad Penny then going back to the deck.
Yeah. That's actually... Yeah, that's a great play. Really like that. Getting straight value out of those Johnny Longfingers.
Going into Logos.
Again, very quick turn. Just 2 creatures down. Back over to Seb. Oh, and a Volt's Blessing. Bursting to 9. Getting rid of the Archivist. And it almost looks like Seb's deck is the Rush deck here, not Xiar's, which is still stuck on 2 Amber. Into Shadows we go.
So Seb up to 9 Amber on check at the moment.
Yep. Here we go with a Pawn Sacrifice. And where are we going to see the damage come down here? Yeah, maybe that's why he's not been getting the amber up, right? Until he's got rid of those Johnnies, or anything those Johnnies can be used for. But Seb here on check already for second key at the start of this turn. Going Sanctum.
Because Xiar used Pawn Sacrifice and killed the Mutant Cutpurse, which let Seb steal another 2 from the Johnny's effect.
Yep. Oh. Cleansing Wave coming down, Gizzleheart Zealot coming down, getting rid of the Massis Asp. Seb ending the turn on 8 amber, passing over to Xiar on 0 and no keys. We'll have to see something quite special from Xiar's deck here to pull this back at this point.
Now got an Ardent Hero down to protect one of the Longfingers.
Yeah, Ardent Hero is a very interesting card actually. Cannot be dealt damage by mutant creatures or creatures with power 5 or higher, and it has Taunt. Very useful utility. So here we go into Shadows again. Miasma. And then a finishing blow just for the amber and says go. Really feels like kicking the can down the road here.
Yep, delaying forging at the moment.
Seb into Untamed. Out with that Pismire pushing up the key cost, and we've got a Resurgence coming. Gloriana's Retendant and a Mutant Cutpurse into hand. So again, Seb passing on 8 amber check for second key.
See, it's quite good keeping that like only 8 amber, because with the too much protector to worry about, you don't want to keep on bursting up.
Yep, I think that's a great point. Last thing you want to do is burst and have Xiar take it all off you with the TNTP and then put down one of the other shadows like a Relentless Whispers or something to steal that one and take you off check as well. Oh, so here we go,
Sure.
Wild Wormhole into a Fertility Chant.
Oh, very nice.
But that
So
gives
straight up 6 amber.
Seb 2 amber as well, so it puts him on 10 now. Dew Fairy. Again from a Wild Wormhole. So we are seeing a bit of burst here.
Yeah, that sort of shows what that deck can do.
And then Positron Bolts into the Johnny Longfingers. That makes a lot of sense, I think. And then pass. Oof. Seb forging the blue key. And still has 4 amber left, goes into Untamed. It's unsurprising. I expect to see the Gloriana's Attendant. Oh, he's pumped it.
Surge to
Kill the Dew Fairy. Yep. Jump
Check
to
on
7 amber check. And Xiar will forge his first key. Let's see if he's got an answer for this. We're almost all the way through his deck. I don't think we've seen the Dust Pixies yet, have we?
I
No.
don't believe so, no.
Interesting. Oh, but we've gone Logos.
Some logo.
So Anomaly Exploiter. Get rid of one of those long fingers.
Yeah, that was very
That's
tough.
it. Seb has won that game. And we're back again. And this time, hopefully, with closed hands. Let's get going. Interesting few misfires. Yep, and everything looks correct this time, so here we go.
Going in.
So, Seb mulliganing.
Yep. Down to 5.
Let's see what Xiar's going to do.
Xiar straight into logo, slab work. Gets to archive a card.
Yeah, it's a nice start. Interesting to see what he has archived there. And then Seb very quickly with a Gorm of Orm and a Raiding Knight and passes the turn.
Capturing that one, Ember.
Both players playing the game at quite a pace here. This could be over very quickly if it runs at the speed of the previous game. What do we think he's archived there? Maybe something like the key charge or some significant piece for that ending, I suspect. Princess is an interesting deck. The Control the Weaks could be really significant in this matchup, and there's a hell of a lot of steel in that Shadows. Xiar's going to have to play around that TMTP. Xiar goes into Logos. We've got Library of Babel, and that's it, and an Anomaly Exploiter, just 2 artifacts. Very useful artifact though, Anomaly Exploiter. Seb straight into Dis. Gorm of Orm to get rid of that Library of Babel. A Toxin, a Succubus, and a Charette. Oh, need to deal with this. The Toxin and that Succubus together, if they both fire, can be very oppressive.
Yeah. Even as it is, like, unless you can get rid of the Succubus now, it's one less card.
Yep. And if he doesn't, and that's Hoxin fires, that's another one. So into Untamed, don't forget he does have the Nature's Calls and the Nocturnal Maneuvers in Untamed to help deal with this situation.
Great options in his Untamed.
Having a good think about it though.
There he goes. Picked up the card from the archive, plays Fertility Chant. 4 Amber and 2 to Seb. And then Dust Pixie as well.
Wow. And then Nature's Call,
Very
so
nice.
the Dust Pixie's coming back out, and then the Nocturnal Maneuver to exhaust as well. And this is what you expect to see from Kota Rush. Xiar passing on 11 Amber and check. But then here comes that Shadow Steal from Seb with a bait and switch. Nerve Blast. Customs Office there, making it costly to use that Exploiter. But Xiar does get that first key. And still has 2 Amber towards the second.
Amber.
Yeah. Let's see where Xiar's going to go. We've got quite a bit of Untamed already been played in Logos here. So yeah, another Logos turn. Maybe saving up Shadows. Smoko, Wormhole for a Dew Fairy. And that's it. Maybe Seb with a Blinding Light. And a Remiel. And another Remiel. And a Raiding Knight. And a Shield of Justice. So Seb pushing to check on 7. Suspect now we might see that Shadows turn from Xiar. Seven not really tempting enough target for the TMTP, but still can be useful.
Oh, going into Shadows. Miasma.
And then the Relentless Whispers. What's he going to hit with it? There's Smoko. And then the Massis Asp. And pass. So Seb is still going to forge.
And from the Miasma, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Thank you for keeping me honest. But then, now this is interesting because I suspect he's got the TMTP in hand and he wants Seb to burst. So Toxin to discard. Discards a Mimicry. Then a Hysteria to return and then play them all back out again. Yeah, the Charette capturing 3. Discarding a Rise. Control the Weak. And pushes him into Untamed. Wow. You're not stealing my amber this turn, he says.
Yeah, it's a nice way to counter the miasma to TMTP.
Yeah, it is. So here we go. Just a couple of bits of Untamed Dew Fairy, Dust Pixie, and pass the turn. See what Seb
Yeah, it's
can
brutal.
do here.
When you get control of the week, it's just you just gotta like play that quick turn, pass back.
It is, exactly. And then when you're facing things like the Succubus and the Toxin as well. So making him discard an Archivist. So Xiar here now, a hand of only 4 cards. And Seb on check. Into Shadows. Taken the card from the archive. I wonder what it was that he had in there. Lights Out might be useful at this point. I wonder what we're going to see here. Would have loved to have seen this played with the open hands, but streaming only on a 5-minute delay, it's not really right or fair to do it.
Magic Asp coming back. They're managing to keep this one quite even at the moment.
They are, aren't they? And binning a customs office. Interesting. Oh, and a pawn sacrifice here. Get rid of the Dust Pixie. Get rid of the Succubus and the Toxin. And then Urchins take him off.
Urchin. Very nice.
Ooh, yeah, well played. So yeah, passing over on 7, Seb on 5. Into Sanctum Raiding Knight. Coming down to capture 1. 2 Remials. 3 Remials.
3 Remials.
Yeah, he did Hysteria a lot of stuff back earlier, didn't he? And then I wonder why he's discarding the Spirit's Way.
But at the same time, he's not managed to get Xiar off check in that turn, unfortunately, so Xiar does get his second key.
Yeah, it does indeed. Spirit's Way can be a great card, but it just would be brutal.
Yeah, to be fair, like he would have only been able to destroy the Asp when it would have killed his Chariot, so would have just given him back 3.
Yeah, exactly. It would be a crazy move to consider playing that.
You just want the extra card draw instead. Clear out your hand.
So
Xiar
Big
playing
Twig is
Untamed. Nocturnal Maneuver to exhaust all the Remials.
Big Twig is a bit of an undervalued card, to be honest, in Kota. The effect of when you reap being able to stun and exhaust a creature, taking it out effectively for a couple of turns is quite significant. And then exhausting the 3 Remials with the Nocturnal Maneuvers, Dew Fairy to reap and gain 2. Got Xiar on 3, halfway to that 3rd and final key. Does he have anything else here? Discarding the key charge. Wow.
See, that's interesting. Like, it's a tough choice as to whether or not you hold it on and like try and get to that point, or you discard it to open up your hand so you can keep playing more things in other houses.
Yeah. I guess the thinking's got to be that if you're Xiar, you're thinking Seb's going to kill your Untamed stuff anyway, because you might have the key charge in hand, which he did.
Yeah.
To stop you from pulling that move off, so you might as well just get rid and go for the win another way. So anyway, Seb having a bit of a Sanctum turn there, purging the Big Twig, Numquid to kill the Dew Fairy, a quick reap, and passes the turn over on check for his second key. Xiar here
He's
thinking
amounting
what to
quite
do.
a force with them Sanctum creatures.
Yeah, but I've got to wonder about a Shadows turn from Xiar here and Massis Asp into Charette to get those 3 amber back. Gets him to 6, a reap with the Urchin 7.
Yeah, seems like a good call.
Just a question of what he has in hand. Well, the Urchin into the Charette. And then a finishing blow. Oh, lovely. That leaves the Asp able to... kill one of the Raiding Knights, and Nexus comes down and check on 10 and passes the turn.
He has actually played as too much Protect, which I think it was just for the extra amber, right?
Yeah. But Seb has TMTP in hand here, right? Which he's just
There
played.
it goes. Yeah.
And a Nerve Blast. And a Relentless Whispers. To go to 13, knowing that that TMTP is gone on the other side now. That could be a significant swing and burst. I don't think there's any other scaling amber control in Xiar's deck here. He's in a bit of a pickle. And so reaches for the library access.
Very good set of turns, turning it around. It'll be interesting to see if Xiar can get over into Jack. Will it be enough?
Yeah, exactly. Positron Bolt. Drawing Eurosiphon to steal and draw, getting into 7.
Yeah, so he's dealing damage to the Remiels. He's killing some of these creatures now. Clearing up the board makes it more manageable.
He's wild wormholed into a regrowth and has now shuffled the deck as well. Be interesting to see what he can draw now. Like you say, yeah, Seb has conceded. So we're going to go to game 3. We will be right back when the game is set up. And so, welcome back everybody. We're back with the third and final match between Xiar and Seb. So Xiar playing Ballinger the Arboreal this time, and Seb still on Princess Hokora. And so we see both players taking a mulligan here. Seb going Dis, and straight out the blocks with a Toxin. It's a great start. Says to your opponent, what are you going to do about that? Both decks quite interesting. Again, so Xiar into Logos, here we go. Sanitation Engineer, Edai. Straight into the archiving fun. And
that's a nice thing to have as well, because you can kind of protect your hand by archiving the cards that you really want.
Brutal Toxin Reap to discard the Infernus though. And then another Toxin and a Succubus and a Control the Weak to force him into Logos. Saying if you want to do something about these Toxins, you're going to have to give up that Edai.
Very good start for Seb.
Well, you've got to do something about these 3 creatures from Seb's board here. You really, really have. Otherwise, you're playing a hand of 3 cards next turn. The turn after.
Yeah, I know you're already 1 short because of the Succubus.
Yeah. So Telltale Vapors making up for that a little. Drawing 2, archiving 1, pushing the key cost up. Now to 8 it will be for Seb. What is he going to do anything about these Toxins?
Fortunately, they don't have anything like Elusive, so if he wanted to, he could just attack all of them.
Yeah, I think that's what I would do, to be honest. And I think if they had Elusive, they would be OP. I think they're 3 power as well, because if you think about it in the context of Kota, it puts them in range of things like an Oubliette for you to be able to remove them.
This is true, yeah. Do you throw the Eddy into one? And which one would you rather get rid of? The Succubus or the Toxin?
Well, I think I'd take out the Toxin. But what have we seen? Yeah, he's taken out the Toxin. I think the fact that you get a reap out of it and then its effect is disgusting. So then Seb, super fast turn, reaping with the Succubus, Mind Barb to discard one of the Poltergeists, and then Seb chucking a Gateway to Dis in the bin, passing over, and then we're getting a Dis turn from Xiar.
So
Dendrix.
Seb's made his way up to 4 amber. Xiar's still on 0 at the moment. Just about getting 1.
Seb now has 3 chains. I'm not finished with you to put that Edi and the Infernus back in their deck. Makes a lot of sense, I think. So Seb, Numquid the Fair coming down and destroying that Dendrix. Gomvom. Nice bit of artifact control. And a Raiding Knight to capture. So Xiar still on 0 amber.
Just being kept off, getting started.
Yeah, holding him back in the blocks. There is only one artifact in Xiar's deck, which is that Sisor Entangler. I imagine we're going to see that Gorm of Arms sit there for quite a while and do nothing.
So Xiar's gone into Logos. He does have those poltergeists, so it'll be interesting to see if he gets one of them before Gorm of Orm can be used.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, so Reaping the Sanitation Engineering, getting rid of a fair game, and then 2 Hapsis coming down. Apsis is a very interesting creature that you've got to deal with. Seb straight into Sanctum, and Reaping with the Numquid. Another Raiding Knight to capture. And here come all those Remiels. And Seb choosing to ABC there. Reasonable choice, saying to your opponent, I'm going to go to check. Whatever you thought you were going to do, you now need to decide. Are you going to do it, or are you going to take me off check? And if you can do both at once, then fair play. Let's see what Xiar does here. Does have some control in this deck, but mainly in terms of the Edis and the Infernus. And the IG only really coming into play if there's an Edi on the board. What he might do here, we've seen a lot of Dis and Logos. We haven't seen any Star Alliance, but chooses to go into Logos again.
I think that's probably a good shout, because he can use the Hapsis if he wanted to deal with the board a bit and draw some cards.
Yeah. Oh, Succubus is gone. Hapsis takes out the Remiel, gets warded. And
yep.
takes out
the
Numquid
as well.
And down comes that Entangler, and then a Tautau Vapors. Draw another 2, pumping that archive up.
That's getting a lot of cards in one turn.
Has he managed to pull one of the Edis that he can get down and take Seb off check? Yes, he has. Wow.
Very nice.
Gonna push Seb's cost up to 10 now. I mean, the Edi is going to be fairly easy to get rid of with the 2 Raiding Knights there. But even so, as a tempo move, it stopped him.
And it's great because it's, you know, as long as it just keeps him off check, then the more that Seb does, the more danger there is from the IG.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Blinding Light from Seb stuns both the Hapsis.
Yeah, and the
Raiding Knight fights the Yeti.
And fights the other Hapsis, gets the ward off it, and does use that Gorm of Orm to get rid of the Entangler. And Seb saying check on 7. Xiar still on 0 amber, playing a very defensive catch-up game at this point, I feel. Oh, and here comes the Infernus. What are we going to Infernus here? Control the Weak, Mind Barb. Yes.
Mind Barb's gone.
And the Control the Weak.
Yeah.
That's what I would have chose. Passes the turn. Oh, down comes a Lash and the other Control the Weak to force Xiar into Dis. Interesting, good choice, quite probably because he's just played a Dis turn, so chances are doesn't have anything that great. run the Infernus into one of the knights here to get it in the discard to cycle back and get an amber back. Oh, nice misery exploit as well.
Does let Seb forge the key with that, forcing him into dis.
Seb with the bait and switch there.
Poison wave.
Gets rid of that ward. And then the Relentless Whispers to kill it and steal one. Silver Tooth for a reap. Seb back on check for second key. Passes it over to Xiar.
Keeping that pressure high. When you can go from like just forging one to straight into check for your second, it's
a
tough one.
Very interesting. What can Xiar do here? Again, we haven't seen Star Alliance yet at all. Maybe that's what's in the archives.
Speaking of which, here goes the Star Alliance 10.
And he's taken his archives as well. Here we go.
10 cards in hand now.
Maybe a couple of red alerts here.
Plenty of things to play around with.
Yep, there we go. Oh, stealth mode, no actions. Things like stealth mode is one of those cards that I misplace or miss on TCO a lot, especially if your opponent's playing quickly. It's the sort of thing that just in real life you never miss someone playing a card, but on TCO it can go so fast you can miss it. And the Melina coming down. Giving
I like that card.
to that Infernus. I love that card, yeah.
The extra protection that you get from it is just great.
Next door to a Kurkar as well is can be horrid. So Muldoon coming down and using the deploy and gets a Calvin on him. So he's reaping with him to draw one. Gaining a card, light the Archons. So this is now going to be a Voltron Crash Muldoon by the looks of it, also with a Cloaking Rungle on him, and then a King Can.
Wow. That was nice.
Yep. Xiar on check for first key. Seb coming straight out the blocks, reaping, discarding a Harder They Come, playing a Remiel. Interesting that he discarded the Harder They Come because he could have purged that Crash Muldoon with it.
Yeah. What do you think the reasoning was?
Could just be a misplay. I mean, I would definitely want that thing off the board. 6 power, 3 armor, with all the effects on it as well.
Yep, giving the other two elusive, and also him getting a card for each time he reaps. Well, fight and reap.
Yep. Yeah, very interesting. So Xiar forging the blue key anyway, and choosing logos, so stealing one with the King Can. And the Discombobulator. Wow, that guy's big now.
Yep.
And then an IG for the Amber. 2 IGs, in fact.
Equipment. 4 upgrades on the Crash Muldoon.
Yeah, we've got a Discombobulator, a Cloaking Dongle giving elusive, and to the neighbours like the Archons, and a Calvin. So that Muldoon is now 7 power, 4 armour. Seb going into Sanctum.
Spirit's Way.
Yeah. Orlando Remiel, and then the Spirit's Way.
Big tidy up. So now we're just left with the Chinkan on the board.
Yep, and it's straight into Star Alliance and another cloaking dongle. The walls. It's going to pull back. An upgrade of some kind. Wonder what you might pull back here. Yeah, the discombobulator. Great one to shut that steel off.
Yeah.
And a stealth mode again for no actions. Check for the second key. Xiar really pulling this game back from the brink. Seb going into shadows.
Yeah, it does let Xiar steal one,
Yeah,
which gets stolen back by the Urchin.
looks like he's accepting that Xiar's going to get that second key, which he is. Game state very level now. So Xiar
Coming down very close. Both on 2 keys. Xiar on 2 Ember, Seb on 3.
Seb does have that lash on the board and hasn't played Dis for a little while. You got to suspect he's prepped to have some kind of tempo move, maybe with that lash, but it depends what Xiar does here and how high he gets to. Only 1 card left in the draw as well for Xiar here.
Kind of tricky. Like at the moment, you got the benefit of there's more upgrades in the discard to pull back with Chief Engineer Walls, but at the same time, what else have you got in hand to play?
Yeah. If he got, I mean, if Xiar takes it into Logos, then he will steal one. I was just checking on the King Cannon its cards, so the lash stops a Dis house call from Xiar stealing one of Seb's Amber. But he did go into Logos and steal it. Oh, here comes an Edite.
This will also let him play that Discombobulator, which is going to be great against the shadows.
Which he puts on the Edite. Says pass on 4 Amber.
Yeah, seems good because the 3 power is going to keep him out of some things, and then you've got the cloaking dongle to try and protect it a little bit more as well.
Exactly, so 3 power elusive on that Edite at the moment. And Seb not with enough power on the board to do anything about it right now. It's interesting, both players came out the blocks at breakneck speed, but they've slowed right down as we get to the real crucial part of this game. This final match.
Ooh, Hysteria
from discards Fear and passes the turn. Wow, but gets rid of the Discombobulator.
Does, yeah.
Got to think Seb's
preparing for a
up.
big steal team. Yeah.
Yeah, I suspect so. What have we got in the discard here? The BNS has gone, but has he played the TMTP? He's not, so Xiar's got to be careful here how high he goes. Even if you take it just to the 6 to avoid the TMTP for your opponent, there's still lots of stuff that Seb can have. Nerve Ballasts and Relentless Whispers. How many has he used of those? 1 Whispers. Yeah. There's still quite a lot of steel in Seb's deck. And given there's only 5 cards in the draw pile, you've got to assume he's got at least 2 pieces of that in his hand. So even if you go to 6, it's not going to be good enough. But the King Can comes down again. The walls. Is he going to get that Discombobulator back again? Or is he going to go for the cloaking dongle? No, it's the Discombobulator. That's his turn.
Not bad because it also sets him up because he can play Logos again, so you'll be able to steal another one if that Shinkan stays on the board.
May well have the other Edai in hand as well. And the question now for Seb is, does he get off the steal while he can still do it? He's going into shadows, and I suspect we will see that. Because those steel cards he has will also get rid of the of Xiar's board.
It's got to be worth doing to keep those upgrades down.
Here we go with the Nerve Blast. A Silver Tooth to reap, and an Urchin to steal another. Not quite making it to check though, and pass his turn to Xiar. Xiar with 8 cards in hand here as well.
One in archive.
Yeah, I wonder what that is in archive. Is it something he needs, or is it just trash?
Like you say, with the potential of E-Die coming out, then it's got a use either way.
Yeah, very true. So we go into Dis. What are we going to see here? Oof. Ultigeist maybe to get rid of that Lash.
Absolutely. Oh, wait.
Customs Office. And then a Thieves' Bane to destroy the Silver Tooth. Very nice. And an Imp Spectre. Yeah, Misery Exploit doing him no good here. Interesting, left the Lash around though. Sure why. The Customs Office would tax him for playing an artifact. He only has that Sizemore Entangler as an artifact. That's a Seb into shadows, reaping with the Urchin, and a Relentless Whispers. This is back and forth. Killing the walls and stealing another one, going to 8.
Yes, now, however, put Seb up to check.
Now the question is, what does Ballinger have?
He's only 3 away from check, so he could certainly turn it around. And if he's got the Eddie in hand, then
yeah, the E-Die will definitely make things interesting. But still, if it's only 1, it would push him the cost up to 8. But if he's got a Tau and an E-Die, then yes. At this point, when somebody takes their time to think, it's either because they're trying to figure out have they lost, or they're trying to get the right sequence.
the amount of times I sort of put all the thought into it, plan it all out, and then play something different. It's just like, okay, that wasn't quite the plan.
Very common. It's been a great set of games from these two players, though. Very, very evenly matched and very back and forth as well at times. A great comeback in this match from Xiar as well.
Definitely. Xiar going into Dis and picks up the archive card.
Reaping with the Inspector now gets rid of that Lash.
Yeah, excellent.
Can he get himself to check though here? Oh, Infernus
very nice
as
because
well.
It uses the Lash as well, so increasing Seb's key cost so that he can't forge.
Yep. And then what is he going to Infernus? You've got to think, the Whispers and the Controller Weak is a great choice. But didn't manage to get himself to check. Gotta wonder, has he still got a way to hold Seb off next turn?
Well, I'm sort of leaning on it must be a Logos turn next turn.
Yeah, and the E dies, yeah. So Seb with the Urchin to reap, TMTP, Nerve Blast for more steel, and purging a take hostages from his own hand because of the Imp Spectre.
Does
Seb
get him
now
up to
on
9 number.
Yeah, exactly. And Xiar here in Logos. Here we see the Edai. Igor is digging here, I feel. What did he discard there? Stealth mode and a red alert. Seems useless to him at this point. A Vapors to draw 2 and archive again. Pushing the cost up to 8. But even another Edai will... Well, another Edai will do it. An IG for Amber. Entangler. And perhaps this is over.
Just didn't get the Edai. Very good attempt.
Yeah, very, very good game. Thank you everyone for watching. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, so I had one to go to 8 to make it cost 8, and I was just looking for either the second or chain Tatao, but even the Tatao will not have saved me.
I was thinking it was one of those where I need to go right. I need to try and push now, or he just has more chance to more time to draw into the cards he needs. So
to be honest, I think maybe not 100% sure. Maybe playing the lash, use the lash and the Infernace at the same time. Maybe it wasn't the right choice, but at the same time, I was thinking
that since the player's he's got 3 Poltergeists, I probably shouldn't have played that, but I'll just wait and see what happens.
I've got to say something. There was one point there interesting where you could have purged that. You could use the Harder the Come on that Voltron that he had out, but you didn't. You discarded it.
Stealth mode.
Oh, he stealth moded you, didn't he? Ah, yes. Yeah. There you go. We did wonder why you didn't do that. There you go. No, I suspect that was the point, because I remember saying in the commentary as well about how I miss cards on TCO, right? When someone plays some actions, especially quickly like you guys do, you miss it, right? That you would never miss in real life.
Yeah. Actually, especially nowadays, TCO at least show you in red the card that is affecting. If you remember, probably a year ago or so, it wasn't even showing a Control the Weak. Control the Weak is obvious, but I mean, it didn't show you Stealth mode or any other card, and then you go and try maybe to attack, and you're like, oh, I cannot attack.
Yeah, there's been the battle update. It has been really helpful. Obviously, it's still possible to miss them, like Tom did there. But yeah,
exactly. I certainly do miss them, but
it is definitely helpful that it highlights them now. I'm a big fan of that change.
It was a great set of games, and it looked like you were on the path to a fantastic comeback in that last one, Stefano, as well.
Yeah, I was. So I knew exactly the cards that he had in hand. So I basically drew his entire deck, so there wasn't anything hidden in a sense. And he knew that I must have, at least a Poltergeist. Well, at least one Poltergeist. That there was a possible Edai came back. But yeah, as I say, I was trying to bank on the fact that he was pushing to 9, but I will be able with one Igor plus a Tatao. I will be able to find either a second Tatao to chain again and search for my second Edai. And it probably would have been possible if the cards were switched in a different way, but
yeah, we assumed that's what you were doing when we saw you start digging there as well, looking for the Taotaos and the Edai. And as you say, sometimes it's just the order. If they're not in the order in the deck and they don't come out,
it was enough. If you think about it, it was enough that with the Igor, I hit the second Edai. That's it. because then the first day they archive one, the second day they archive a second one, and basically the key costs 10.
Yes,
Yeah.
+4.
And that's it. And I'm at 6 Amber, and he cannot do anything to stop me because I have also the discombobulator down.
I've got a charrette in hand, I think, but that wouldn't have got me enough Amber to win.
Sorry again?
I did have a charrette to take you off check, but obviously that wouldn't have done quite enough to put me back on check.
I mean, you take me off check, but then basically
kill it.
Logos ripple with everything, and you are at the same position. You cannot forge.
Yeah, I don't agree there, but
yeah, just kicking the can down the road at that point, isn't it? So let's go through Seb's decks first and get maybe some of your thoughts, Seb, but also Stefano, your thoughts on why you chose to ban and what your thinking was with each of them. What did you think about Princess?
Me personally, it is a stable deck. It doesn't have many flow, but it play kind of standard in a way. So he has removals. He has good capturing, amber control, and a decent amber generation. For me, is a bit low in that sense in terms of amber generation, but he has a lot of steel, so you compensate with that. And it's a solid deck. The only thing is, as I say, I was banking on actually going against my Ballinger, and Ballinger probably work a bit better, because the difference with the other decks is that if you are able to maintain a board, it doesn't really have many removal for the Edai, because you need to either use a couple of cards to remove the Edais, or it doesn't have. I mean, he has a gateway, sure. He has Hysteria doesn't really help against the Edai. He has Nerve Blast, Poison Waves, and the Relentless Whispers, but again, you need to have the right combination. For example, Nerve Blast doesn't work if I don't have Ember, and at the same time, Relentless Whisper doesn't really work against Edai because he has 3 power instead of 2. So yeah, I think that this was kind of good match for my Ballinger. Unfortunately, didn't run as well as I hoped.
I love to see Numquid the Fair in here, because when Worlds Collide came along, it just seemed the perfect anti-ward to me. You're behind on board, fine, I'll throw out a Numquid, knock all your wards off, and then knock all your creatures down.
Yeah, it is a nice card, and yes, you can have a few combo with that. Ward is really a good example, but at the same time, in my deck, I have also red alerts, so I'm not really scared. Actually, I don't mind if he goes ahead and put down a bunch of creatures, because most of the time I can easily clear. A simple doesn't really need to be on board, so Numquid doesn't really do much against that.
Yeah. What made you choose this deck for one of your 3 in the KFPL, Seb?
Well, I do like a deck with a lot of creature control, because I think big boards are generally quite popular right now. It is, like you said, a little light on amber generation, because I generally prefer them a bit higher, but it just sort of like, it's got a good amber control, it's got good board control, it's got some artifact control. Obviously got a solid disruption score as well.
It looks pretty solid. Let's jump on to the next one, which is Glottis. And this is the one you chose to ban, right, Stefano?
Yeah.
Talk us through what made you ban this one.
So couple of things. One, definitely the fact that so I was pretty sure that Seb will ban my Azawin, because, well, reasons. You'll see Azawin later on, but the deck per se, this one, it's kind of annoying for my decks, because he has a Quicksilver Stone, which I don't like much. Sure, I have a Ballinger that has a 3 Poltergeist, which, doesn't care about the quick soul stone, but at the same time he has like 2 Queen Can, he has 2 stealth mode, he has the the Hawk, which in case it didn't ban as a win, that will really be bad for me. And a stealth mode as well will be bad for me. And so basically, I was more thinking like which one of the 3 is most annoying against as a win, which will be probably be banned, but at the same time, if he didn't,
And this has got one of my favourite combos in here against, again, artifact heavy decks, because hit and run Snack Lifter, Snack Lifter hit and run Snack Lifter is pretty grim.
Snack Lifter, the funny thing is that the Snack Lifter is the one artifact control that Azawin doesn't care, and the other one is remote access, because I have 2 artifacts on Azawin, and one is a Strange Gizmo, and sure, you can manipulate a bit, but Strange Gizmo affect both players at the same time, so doesn't really care if you snack lift it. And the other one is the Heart of the Forest, which again, I don't care if you take it.
They're both very symmetric.
Yeah. I mean, there are some combos on Azawin where I prefer to have my Heart of the Forest, but at the same time, I know how to play, with that deck ins and outs.
Yep. What about your thoughts on this one, Seb? Do you think it was the right ban choice?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he was going to ban Princess or Glottis. I didn't think he'd ban Zixili. I think it is the deck that if I decided not to ban Azawin, would give it the most trouble, because it does have the artifact control for the Heart of the Forest, it has the stealth modes for the Brig and Jenka, and the quick stun just can be quite annoying anyway. I don't think it's hugely important in any of the matchups.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ballinger does sort of tend to keep a bit of a board. Plus 3 Poltergeists, so it's probably not going to stick around too long.
It can be a great distraction, right? That you can throw it down, knowing your opponent's going to do something to answer it, which warps their play decision for a turn or two.
Oh yeah, definitely. I do like cards that do that as well.
It's the definition of disruption, I guess.
Mm.
Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is Zexili.
Yeah.
What do you think when you saw this, Stefan?
Well, to be honest, the game, if it wasn't like so polarized, I think it would have been much closer in that sense. Unfortunately, he got probably one of the best starts for this deck with both long fingers in hand once they are down, and at the same time, after my mulligan, I had 2 Nature Call, a Mimicry, and a tree. And what was that's basically it. That was a really horrible starting hand for me, and on the other side he had probably one of the best starting hand that he can have with this deck. And of course it's always like in Keyforge, it's always like this. Sometimes you get really good starting hand with any deck, and you have, I don't know, you play 5 cards, and then you draw into another 5 cards the next turn, and then you draw into another 5 cards or 4 or 6 cards into the next turn. And when the difference is so wide that maybe the opponent keep, like, I don't know, play 2 cards from a house, and you redraw the same house, and you still have the 2/2/2 or the 3/3, it get wider and wider, the difference on the decks, even if the decks are similar in terms of power. The main issue is when you have one player that starts really fast and really good, and the other opposite. That there is no easy catch up mechanic in that sense.
Yeah, the double long fingers, especially with so many mutants and so many of them being small, can be pretty brutal, I think, as we saw.
Well, and being a mutant itself, I mean, it triggered off itself anyway, so it will still be still 2 when they are both down.
This is a deck I see you play with a lot, Seb, right?
Yeah. Still one of my tried I've not borrowed.
Probably a good choice. I think it's got a lot of a lot of interesting, fun stuff in it.
Yeah, and I think like when I was looking at it, I've seen the power of the deck, and I see that it's basing a lot of base game on stealing through mutants and generating Ember through the Bold Blessing card in Untamed, and you have Witch of the Eye for recursion even. But I mean, it's a good deck. However, when I was thinking about when I play the match with Simple, it's like, well, I don't mind. I have 2 Nature Call. I have how it's called in Shadow, the one that you return the 2 cards.
Lights Out.
Lights Out.
Lights Out. And also I have a Mimicry, which could help me with that, Unfortunately, as I say, when you draw 2 Nature Call on first hand with a Mimicry, that's really the worst thing you want to see, because he played to Johnny. You bounce them back at the beginning. For him, is like, yep, thank you. I mean, I'll play it again. That's it.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to Stefano's decks, and we'll start with Azawin, which is the deck that got banned.
Yeah, well, no surprise here. To be honest, it wasn't banned on my second game. It was banned on my first game of KFPL. It wasn't banned on the second, and it was banned on the third. And most of the time, it will be banned. It's a combo deck. If you check on the stats, you will say, well, nothing special. When you play against it, you understand that it is really hard to play against.
What led you to ban it, Seb?
Like I said, it's obviously got the 3 of the big AOA combo type things. I don't know if I call it the first combo, but you know what I mean. It's like that sort of thing. It's one of the big cards. I suppose it's combo with the Jenka in a way, but
Brig, Jenka, and then having the Hoff in there with the key cheats. A lot of people seem to have an allergic reaction when they see Hoff.
I wasn't especially scared of it on its own. I think the other things in the deck make it a lot scarier. I don't particularly like it as a card. I don't particularly enjoy playing against it, which partly led me to ban it. But I don't think it's sort of okay, this deck's got a Hoff, I need to ban it. But it was just sort of okay, I think Glottis could probably beat it. Could go either way. Like if he sees things at the right time, it goes well for him.
It all depends on how you start. If I start really fast with Mars being able to have generosity into Mars first and the proliferator into key abduction and again proliferator with Mars first. I mean, there are so many combos. Some games I win on turn 4.
I'm not saying it would be a guaranteed win for Gloss because I don't think it would be.
No.
I think
the Forest is not I win games with Art of the Forest, but that's there as a safe.
It's like a last resort. You want to try and win with the Brig and the Jenka stuff.
Jenka, or there is the combo, as I say, when you go to time or when you go, let's say, late with the Heart of the Forest, you stall and then you play basically all your Untamed cards. You need to have 4 Ember already, and you can double cheat with the Chota Hazri 2 times with the Nature Call, Full Moon. I mean, there are many combos. Brig is another one with a follow-up with the Generosity into Key Abduction. I mean, there are so many. But it's a hard deck to pilot, but it's probably harder for the opponent to play against.
I'm sure it is, yeah. It looks like a lot of fun to play. Let's move on and have a look at the next one. So, the Simple Prodigal of Scroll Hill. What were your thoughts on this when you saw it, Seb?
Well, it's a deck I've seen quite a few times because it's Stuart's favourite. I've played it against Ixili before this, and Simple did win. But I think, like we were saying when we're discussing the other side of this, when we're looking at Ixili, it's very draw dependent. It's whoever gets the fastest start and manages to keep that going. They've got a very similar playstyle that I think Ixili's more controlling than this is. Whereas this just wants to go as fast as it possibly can, and then use the TMTP and then potentially the Mimicry to slow the opponent down.
It does look fast as hell, and having the TMTP allows you to burst and not be too worried about what your opponent does.
It is a really good deck. It's not my deck. It's a deck of my teammate Stuart. But the thing is, so it's a simple deck to play in a sense, but there are some caveats that I still don't get because I haven't played, hundreds of games with this deck. It's a simple simple deck to pilot. However, as you've seen during the game, like sometimes it gets really clunky because you have some cards that if you see them first, they don't really do much. Like things like a finishing blow, it's not really useful per se, or stuff like Neurosiphon when your opponent has less amber than you, it's just one amber, and Anomaly Exploiter is another one that if you are not able to damage, there is nothing really of use of this artifact. And there are a few others. The main issue is it's extremely fast, but it's extremely draw dependent. And yeah, most of the Ember is generated in Untamed, of course.
I mean, the Untamed. I totally take the point about draw dependent, right? But you get that Untamed suite in the right order, and it's grim.
Yeah, the second game, that's basically how I won, because I generated something like 10 amber in one turn, thinking either he has too much to protect or basically will be almost game over because I will be too far ahead.
Yeah, and I think in both games that you played with that deck, I was happy to see the Mimicry go early, because I know when I played Zixillion to it before, it ended up into a very close scenario, but he had the Mimicry, so he hit the Bringlow, just as I was sort of running out of steam a bit. Seeing the Mimicry go but early in both games was...
Yeah, and the Nature Core, as I say, as well. You have to think that in the first game, I was thinking before the game, I was like, okay, I just need to go down with the board. When it goes down with the Johnnies, I'm gonna just, bounce them back with the lights out or nature calls and keep the board somehow managed. But yeah, that wasn't.
It must be a bit brittle in the current meta with all the Infernuses running around.
Yeah, that's why in the other games I banned deck that had for Infernuses.
Makes a lot of sense.
Because with 2 Dust Pixies, Fertility Chant, it's just, it's almost impossible to play with decks that have like 2 Infernuses or plus.
Yeah, it's brutal. Right, let's move on. So Ballinger the Arboreal looks pretty interesting, that disc suite.
Yeah, I didn't ban this one because I thought it is the one that... I don't think any of his decks would have been easy by any stretch. I just think this is the one that I had the best chance of beating, because I think a lot of the Amber control is quite... not situational, but it's like there's a double graft, for example. So as long as I can just not get baited too much by the Edi's pumping the Costa and just stay around 6 and then just kill Edi's as necessary, it's not overly scary. I mean, it's still a solid deck.
Yeah.
The Poltergeist are obviously an issue if I've got anything super artifact reliant like Glottis can be. And I think it does play a very similar game to Glottis without the stone, but I think it's possibly slightly better at it. I think it still has it has red alerts, it has stealth modes, it has Queen Can, it's got 2 Edi's. It's got this instead of shadows, but I think they both try and do a very similar thing.
It is a very disruptive deck, I think, isn't it?
It is a deck. It's one of those decks that. So, funny thing, I wasn't thinking to take this deck, and actually, is the one that is doing the worst, let's say. But I knew. But I wanted to play with this deck just because it's kind of fun to play with. It is really synergic in between houses. There are so many inter-houses combos. The only thing, Seb played really well because basically at the beginning on the first key, you were not pushing, even if I was like increasing the cost or putting you at 5. I'm like, come on, go over 6. I have an interdimensional graft in hand.
It's like, okay, I think I can get away with going to about 7 maybe sometimes, but I don't want to go too much higher than that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you played well in that sense, but most of the time, I must say, people just they're like, oh, well, I'll go for it. It doesn't have interdimensional graft, or they just try to push to forge for a 9 because there is a die out, or because there is the possibility to have an die out. Yeah, you played instead, and that's why it was really close as the game, I think, the last one, because we both tried to play at the maximum that we should play to avoid to go over. Like I was trying to be careful again with your too much to protect, and I didn't want to push it too much, but at the same time I wanted to push your cost up for the interdimensional graft, and at the end it bite me in the back because I ended up to forge 2 keys and I had 2 interdimensional graft basically unutilized at all.
Yeah,
very cool. All right, gents, thank you very much for taking the time to chat to me after this game, this set of games. In fact, it was very fun to watch, and really appreciate you letting me record and stream it for you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you, Seb. I mean, after the first game, I was like, okay, we're going to finish in 10 minutes. That's it. It was one of the fastest game I've ever played, probably.
Yeah, it was very quick. Very cool. All right. Good luck next round, both of you. And thanks again.